Talk draft right now. Jeff Goodman, NBA, as the Sixers end up with the third overall selection behind the Lakers and the Celtics. It feels like 1982 all over again, right? You got Lakers, Celtics, Sixers. Should be NBA Finals in about 5 years from now. These teams will all be battling it out again. Jeff Goodman joins me now to take a closer look at the draft lottery and what unfolds now that we know where everybody's going. Jeff, welcome back to the show. How are you, pal?
Speaking of 82, and you can't – I don't want to say this on air, but I am. Being a Bostonian, my favorite player was Andrew Toney. How about that?
How about that? A guy from Boston likes the Boston Strangler. It's his favorite player.
Love them.
Right?
Love them. That dude had the best first step. I try to tell kids now, go watch tape of when he was healthy because he was tough from getting to the basket, really tough.
What could have been with his feet, right? It sounds like the franchise, right? That is the Sixers' MO. Feet keep holding them back, man.
Yeah, if he only had the personality of Joel Embiid, right? Nobody does.
Nobody does. But so let's start with Joel Embiid. Who, in your mind now that they have this number 3 pick, who do you like paired with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons? Because there's a lot of different similar talents, but different talents in this draft.
Yeah, I mean, to me, there's 3 guys that you're going to look at, and they're all different in their positions and what they do well. And I'll start with a guy he's getting more play lately. I don't think he fits that well, other than the fact that he's a high-level point guard, is De'Aaron Fox. Freshman out of Kentucky, blazing speed, unbelievable kid, really, really can guard, but not a good shooter. And I just think it doesn't work for the spacing of this team, and certainly the Ben Simmons point guard experiment as well. They want to see if Ben can play the point. So to me, I think you'd be more apt to go between Jason Tatum, freshman at Duke, who's about 6'8", who can really, really score the basketball, and Josh Jackson, who's kind of a power wing, really good defender, tough, passes it well for his position. I would go Tatum. That's just me personally in terms of, I think, what they need. And Tatum is kind of, to me, a cross between Carmelo Anthony and Paul Pierce. That's the type of player he's going to be. Not a superb athlete, but can score, will be able to score at all 3 levels. He's got a great, great fadeaway jumper where he creates space, step back, and it's really tough for anybody to block. I don't feel like he got the freedom at Duke completely to showcase what he could do. So I go Tatum, but you can't go wrong with Josh Jackson either because he was much better shooting the ball from the perimeter than anybody expected this year, and he brings ultimate toughness. I mean, he is just a killer on the court. So I think either one would be a huge welcome addition to the Sixers.
Yeah, the Tatum seems like he's the guy who's polished and kind of ready, and Jackson is kind of the guy that your player development really can get more out of that guy. I mean, when I say Josh, he kind of reminds me of like where Kawhi Leonard was when he came into the league, like a defender.
Good call.
You know what I'm saying? So you agree with that? He's like a tough. He could come in and play defense tonight in this playoff game if the Celtics needed him to.
And a way better shooter than Kawhi was at the same stage. Kawhi shot like 29% for 3, I think, in the 2 years of San Diego State. So, to me, Josh Jackson's a guy that's not offensively ready, but like you said, you could throw him in the lineup, and he's going to be able to defend. And, to me, like, he's a better Jaylen Brown, who's getting minutes right now for the Celtics in crunch time.
Mm-hmm. And if you watch a lot, and I saw a lot of Jackson because I'm a Big 12 alum, so I saw him kill West Virginia a bunch of times. But he added that, that corner 3 later on. He was better from the free throw line. So Jackson's the guy that I'm kind of leaning towards right now. But how much depth in this draft? Where's the drop off?
Well, I think it's the top 4, and then there's a little bit of a gap from, to me, 5 to 9, and then I think you go 10 to 20. I think those are kind of the tiers if I was going to set them. I think those top 4 players are in a class by themselves. And I love De'Aaron Fox. I really do. I just think, is he ever going to be a great shooter? I just don't think he fits with what the Sixers need. I don't. I feel like if, Brett Brown has said it so many times.
Yeah.
And Colangelo, they want to see if he can play the point.
Do you think he can? Do you think Simmons can handle playing the point guard in the NBA?
I do offensively. I just think defensively you've got to figure it out because, like, let's say, for instance, all right, so you go Simmons, Embiid, Okafor, let's say you draft Tatum, for argument's sake. Let's say you draft Tatum. You need another guy. Like, who's going to guard in that lineup?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to guard the 1 and the 2?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have one more guy in the lineup. Whoever it's going to be, T.J. McConnell. But I don't know who it's going to be. I guess Simmons.
They do have Jared Bayless is still hanging around too.
Okay. So let's say a Bayless or a Gerald Henderson plays on the wing.
Yeah. You
still need one more guy to guard the 1 and the 2 or the 2. And Ben Simmons can't do that. So that's going to be your issue is more defensively. Ben Simmons, listen, offensively, he can play the point. He can see over dudes. He can handle it. He can pass. Obviously, he's got great court vision, all of that. But you better have and that's why I like Tatum, is because the spacing on the court would be much better because Jason Tatum can really, really shoot the basketball, again, from mid-range, from 3. He's a better facilitator than people know. He didn't really get a chance to do that at Duke, but I saw him a bunch in AAU ball, and early on he was almost like a point forward, the way they could run stuff through him, and then he became more of a straight scorer, extended his range, and they're all high character kids. The 3 kids I mentioned that they're choosing from, I know Tatum really well. I know Fox really well. I don't know Josh Jackson quite as well. He's a tough kid who played his prep school ball out in California, but he's from Detroit. So I think they're all high character kids to go along with. Listen, if you can build around Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and Tatum or Jackson, that's a pretty damn good start.
And don't forget Dario, who played pretty well at the end of the year, right?
I like him. I don't think you build around him.
No.
I think he's a piece.
Yeah.
He's a piece.
Let me get your take on this because you mentioned the tiers. So that pick swap ended up helping them?
Yeah, the pick swap ended up, I'm trying to remember kind of how everything worked out. It did. It helped them. Yeah.
They would have had 5. They would have had 5.
Yeah. Yeah, you went from 5 to 3. Absolutely. I think it's going to be huge at the end of the day because I think at 5, you're talking really the point guards or Lowry Markkinen or Jonathan Isaac, and instead of more polished player like Jason Tatum or Josh Jackson. Absolutely. I think it was huge, the pick swap. And next year, you're going to get the Lakers pick automatically, correct?
Yes, and in 19 you have the Kings pick. So they have 2 picks the next 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Lakers pick, listen, to me, the Lakers are still going to be, could they be mid-lottery? Yeah, I think it's going to be a top 10 pick. I'd be shocked if it weren't.
Real quick, if Fultz, Ball, for any reason, do you see any of those guys being there at 3? Are they slam dunk 1 and 2?
I think they're slam dunk 1 and 2. I think Fultz is done to Boston. I don't know how, if you're Magic Johnson, you pass on Lonzo Ball. Magic told me last week he doesn't care about LeVar Ball. That doesn't factor into his decision at all. If there's anybody that can reach LeVar Ball, it's Magic Johnson.
All right, so if 3 came up and Ball and Fultz were there, that's the no-brainer then? One of those guys, if one of those fell, that becomes a no-brainer? Yeah. Okay.
Hell yeah. And Lonzo's not a great shooter either.
He's got a weird shot. Real weird shot.
Yeah. Yeah, the percentages say he's probably a better shooter than he is. He's going to have trouble making those shots in the NBA, but you can't pass. You figure it out. You take him and you trade him if you have to.
All right.
Like you trade the pick because somebody will love him at that point. You figure it out because, again, I don't think you're playing a game right here that's not going to happen anyway. But if somehow one of those 2 were to fall, Fultz you would take and celebrate, and Lonzo you'd probably take and figure it out.
So what's Boston do? They take Fultz. What do they do with Thomas?
It's a great question. I think they could play together because, listen, the bottom line is if you really watch Isaiah Thomas, he's really more of a 2 guard.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
He's a 5'8" and a half 2 guard. So they can play together. The question becomes Avery Bradley, Isaiah Thomas, Markelle Fultz, Marcus Smart, Terry Rozier.
Yep.
They got to figure it out. There's only so many minutes to go around for a bunch of smaller guards. Fultz is your future. Yeah, Isaiah Thomas, you got to figure out whether you're going to pay max money for in a year.
Ooh. Jeff Goodman, ESPN Basketball Insider, here on the Sports Bash. Sixers pick 3rd, June 22nd. Jeff, thanks, pal.
You got it.